pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
United
America
States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Roll call of directors. Director Gibson,
It's absent.
Director Kelly,
Here.
Director Nyman,
Here.
and Director Schoenberg.
Here.
Good evening. I'm Director Garcia. Number 2, any adjustments needed on the agenda? Someone was speaking about that earlier in our,
I would like to move that we move number 21 up under the number 8.
okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Director Nyman will second that motion. Roll call directors. Director Gibson is absent. Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 4-0-1 absent. Motion carried. Any other adjustments needed? Okay, thank you. Not hearing anything, we'll move on to number 4. Report of officers. Our president is absent. Vice President.
I just stepped in again for Director Nyman. And you'll hear about that on the project committee report, the committee reports. And I will be bringing in some checks once we vote on them to the bank and the and ACE. And other than that, I think that's about it.
Okay. I as secretary do not have any. Treasurer.
Nope.
Okay. And JPIA rep.
None.
Thank you. Number 5, any board member initiatives? Not hearing any. Let's move on to number 6. Managers report.
All right.
Oh, somebody was
Well,
asking if the
Public
comment-
comments were skipped. Yeah, they were.
Say that again. Sorry.
public comments, we skipped them. Somebody wants to say something.
Oh, my bad. Number 3.
Yes.
If there are any comments from the public, I would like to invite you to share them now. Do we have any? Zoom 3 CO, CD. Good evening. Would you like to address the board tonight?
Yes. So hi, everybody. My name is Manuel Leon. I work with Self-Help Enterprises as a community development specialist. I'm here today to share some news about a program that we offer every year. We are currently accepting applications for our 2022 Rural Community Water Managers Leadership Institute, which is a leadership development program open to disadvantaged community residents and water community leaders. So if anybody is interested in applying, I'm going to drop my information down in the chat below, as well as some application links. And I will also be sharing a flyer via the chat that everyone can download. But that is all I wanted to say.
Well, welcome. Thank you. We've had a lot of good help from Self-Help Enterprises, and I'm sure that yours will be just as good, if not better.
Where's Dave Warner? Oh,
It took 3 of them to replace Dave, so remember that. Thank you, sir.
I'll
Mr.
go ahead
Leon.
and let Dave know then.
Yeah. Okay. No other public to address us, then I'll move on. I'm sorry?
There's a hand up. Oh, I'm not sure.
That is Mr. Leon's hand, I see, unless there's another one. Anyone else? No, I believe that we took care of that issue. Oh, excellent. Okay, so I see that your contact flag just went up on the screen. So anybody who wants to contact Mr. Leon, there it is. There's his phone number, 559-802-1611. And the email, manuel@Self-Help Enterprises. Thank you, Mr. Leon. Habla usted español, all right? Beautiful. Okay. Let's move on to number 6. Johnny, got a manager's report today?
Yes, sir.
Please,
Last month
you
we
have the
had
floor.
thank you. Last month we had 9 after-hours call-outs. The majority of them were for either the leak on Alcott, or there was a couple of water heaters that blew up for emergency shutoffs. For those,
Could you give us an
or-
upshot on that leak that caused the whole town to go up in arms?
Yeah, we got called, I think on the 18th, about the leak. It wasn't running bad, contrary to the people being upset. It wasn't running bad. Called the gas company out. The gas company said they didn't have anybody available until the following Tuesday. And they had to be there because there was a 4-inch high pressure gas line there. We had to get a back truck, which is basically a giant vacuum with a high pressure hose on it. So I scheduled it, and then I scheduled it for the first available time to get both parties there. And then we got snowed out. They got snowed off the hill, so that didn't work either. So then it had to go again until Friday. The following Friday, we came in on the day off. We fixed it in about 4 hours, and then today, and I sent pictures to the paper so they knew what was going on. And then today we went up there and put a bunch of road base down and graded it, and I made sure I took pictures so I could send that to the newspaper as well, so they could see the job that we did on the road. So it really wasn't that big of a deal, but a lot of people seen it and they thought that it was bigger than it was.
Right. I happened to be going down Alcott Trail today in the afternoon, and it looked like it was cleaned up pretty well.
Yeah, I made sure that we
Thank you
did a
for
good
that.
job. The only place, you're welcome. The only place we didn't do a good job was down at the bottom, at the very bottom, the last 200 feet. The hauler for the road base had to call it a day, so we couldn't finish the rest of that little section, but we will get to it.
Okay, great.
And then we also fixed Elm Trail and Walnut Trail to try to help out. We didn't have leaks there, but we were trying to help out, and we'll continue to try to do that as time permits. But next week we're going in meter reading mode, so nothing will happen during that week. And that's all I got.
Thank you for your efforts on keeping the place tidied up after that. Tiffany, you have an administrative assistance report, please?
Before we go on to that, I just have a question for Johnny.
Director Schoenberg, please.
So we had it'll come up during the financials, but we had a really high bill for the answering service. And I'm kind of shocked that it's that high, even with all the phone calls we were getting about Alcott. So I'm just, I'm going to bring it up now and then probably remind you in the financials, but I think we might want to look into that to see if they're double charging us.
Yeah, and I need to call them anyway because they're supposed to send an email when somebody calls. And it seems like they've been sending an email at the day it happens, and then they send it the next day. And then, so maybe
right,
that's part of the issue. Maybe
we're thinking that
maybe
they're charging every time they send an email, and they're doing it multiple times.
Yeah, so I'll definitely, especially if I have a copy of that invoice on Monday, I will call.
Okay,
So
great.
is there a chance? Is there a chance that you have to go to the office for anything? Whoever's taking care of the bills after signatures tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't gonna go. Are you in the office?
No, or actually, no, I'm not in the office. But actually, even if you could just take a picture and text it to my phone.
Yeah, I can. Oh, I don't have I just have the amount. I don't have oh yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Invoice
Cool,
Deborah
thanks.
has.
Yeah, it's just whether or not Deborah comes in on Monday when I want to call. So if there is an invoice available, then I'll
Yeah,
All
the
our
invoice
usage.
is still with, is with Deborah, but I have, other info that's in the, financials, so yeah.
I will be in on Monday.
Perfect.
Yeah, because I think it's like 278 calls over our normal 250.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely check into it. And I don't know how I would be able to verify myself other than just talking to them. But I could tell them, oh, okay, send me all of them, 500 emails. Let me see what's going on.
Yeah. Okay, just wanted to bring it to your attention. It seemed higher, way
thanks.
higher than normal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Tiffany, do you have anything for us?
I finished the COVID relief program. I finished that reporting requirement, so I turned all that in. Hopefully that'll go well and I won't get any questions back. And I also, on Johnny's request, updated the website, and so we got some new pictures and updated information on our staff page. And I think that's it, other than what I'll share during the agenda items.
Okay, cool. Number 7,
Any?
Welcome.
Director Schoenberg, you have something?
No, I was just saying thank you to our hardworking
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you,
admin
Tiffany.
assistant.
That's right.
You're very welcome.
Number 7, ad hoc committee reports. Project committee.
Okay,
That's me.
so I ended up doing the state update meeting by myself. But there are minutes for that, which we'll be looking at tonight and approving. And there, I brought up the stuff we needed to bring up to Lawrence, and you should see that on the minutes. So anyway, and then I'll be attending that again, hopefully with Director Garcia this next
Yes.
time, next
Thank
week.
you.
And I think there isn't. We did have some stuff come up, but I think there's agenda items for everything. So we'll just discuss it on the agenda items.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Accounts payable. You up and running yet?
You want to do this, Terry, or do you want me to
Yeah.
do it?
Lisa and we went in and looked over the bills and fixed whatever needed to be fixed with Deborah, and we can talk about the rest of it out under financials.
Perfect, thank you. Book asset detail committee.
Yeah, that was tabled until April at this current point, and I think it may have been originally supposed to be tabled until oh no. It was not tabled to April. I'm wrong. I'm mixing it up with something else. It was supposed to be, there was supposed to be a meeting this last Wednesday with Deborah, but it didn't happen because I ended up doing the accounts payable again. So that will be put off probably for another couple weeks, but we will start getting to it.
Okay.
That's
Treasurer
Director
committee?
Nyman as well. And the treasurer committee, same thing. Director Nyman was out of commission. I
Okay.
still need to get with him and just update on all of just go over the old bills to make sure that all of the stuff that needs to be moved got moved, which there's still some missing stuff that hasn't been transferred in the bank from our planning account to our back into our operating revenue.
Okay, thank you. And the accounts receivable committee, have they started?
We'll talk about that here shortly.
Well, you're up.
No, we got to do
I
financial.
think 8's first and then it's after 8.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just talking about the ad hoc committee report,
We'll talk about it under 21.
the agenda item. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, 8, discussion vote on accounts payable and financial information. Deborah, you have the floor.
Okay, we issued 28 checks out of the revenue operating account totaling $43,334.40. The extraordinary items are a payment to JPIA in the amount of $3,200 for 4 of the director's bonds. The 5th bond comes in later. The disbursement to JPIA for medical, dental, vision benefits, you'll notice that it's dropped, and that is because we have an employee that left the program. And let's see, then there was a disbursement for $6,250 to the accounting firm for the fiscal year 2021 audit. And there was a disbursement of $4,116.97 to the bank card. And the 2 extraordinary items on that bank card, one of them is a continuous of stamps for mailings of $1,174, and if my eyes don't deceive me, 76 cents. And then the purchase of the transfer tank for $1,461.35. And
Is that for diesel, Johnny?
It is, yeah, so we can fuel up the equipment out on the job site.
What was the
Okay.
total cost on that one? The total check?
$1,461.35.
Thank you.
And that was for the purchase of the item. It wasn't for the installation, which we paid for last time on the last.
Yeah.
financials.
okay, and the last extraordinary item is Edison bill, $6,320.31. And that's all I have.
Boy, everything's really gone up.
I'll entertain a motion if there's no further discussion or questions to pay the bills.
I make a motion that we pay our bills.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Director Kelly has seconded that motion. Roll call, directors. Director Gibson is absent. Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 4-0, 1 absent. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, let's pull up 21. Discussion vote on accounts receivable ad hoc committee work.
Yes, as you know, that back a few months ago, we had an issue with the check reader. And with that issue, somebody got charged more than they should have, and it got all straightened out. So we were going through, and it took a lot of time for Tiffany to match the batch with the daily daily deposit. That was one thing, but then everything was checking out. I found, along with Director Gibson, that it was kind of a redundant kind of thing to go back for months and months. I think the going forward, it's something that the bookkeeper can kind of check off. It takes just maybe, 5, maybe 10 minutes for her to kind of go through and check it all off. And versus having 2 directors go in and do this. So
Yeah.
Director Gibson and I were feeling that it was kind of a redundant kind of thing, and to have just to disband the ad hoc.
Director Kelling, it wasn't meant to go forward. It was just meant to look back, since we discovered a pretty hefty issue, to make sure that we didn't have any others that we
We're
just.
going back. and we were going back, but I think that if an account is going to be overpaid in a direct through a check, that check clears. I think the check, the person that wrote the check is going to be notified. And again, we will only have to correct the mistake. There's no way to go back and correct a mistake that's already been made. Deborah, what's your feelings on that? You were
Well,
there.
From what I could tell and the information that I've been given through the process, there's no way to prevent it. And we might be able to catch it going forward. We might be able to catch it with a quick double check. But the bank and the payer, if it gets beyond us, we will be notified, because there's no way to, once the button to send is gone, there's no way to stop the process. So even if I'm checking it after it's gone through, there's no way to go back and stop that error from happening. We just have to correct it.
And if I
So
might
that-
add, the issue at the time just happened to be the perfect storm that happened to be the county was paying with a large check, and they could split it. The front desk could split it between the park and the library. So normally things aren't going to line up that easy, and I'm sure it would have been caught at the time that the front desk was doing the deposit.
Okay, I make a motion that we disband the accounts receivable committee.
Do I have a second?
I can't second it because I'm on that committee.
Yeah, I guess I'll second it.
Okay. Director Schoenberg, you're seconding the motion.
Grudgingly,
Sorry.
nothing. I'll second.
Roll call directors. Director Gibson is absent. Director Kelly.
I abstain.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 3-0. 1 abstention, 1 absent. I don't know who's crackling paper in front of their phone, but it's really distracting to me. Thank you. Is that it on 21?
Yes,
Can I just ask before we go on how far back you guys went? Did it go? I mean, obviously it wasn't going to go forward, but I know we haven't had the check reader that long, but where did you get to on it?
we went back. Tiffany, do you know exactly what months you pulled?
I started with recent back, so depending on when you met, was that back in February? I think I pulled all of February
It
and
was
some
back
of
in
January.
Oh, so you went to the recent stuff, not the
No,
stuff
we went
before it
backwards.
happened. Okay. So we never really got to the before the mistake.
No.
Okay, just for my information. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, number 9. Discussion vote on billboard lease agreement with the Mountain Communities Chamber of Commerce. Who's handling it? Are you, Johnny?
No, is BJ on the line?
BJ is not.
He's not. He did
Oh,
send
okay.
me an email. He said he was okay with the changes and that whenever we're ready, he'll come in and sign it.
Perfect.
Okay, well, I'll entertain a motion to update the corrections that I received were in red on the billboard lease agreement.
I will make a motion that we adopt the lease agreement with the Chamber of Commerce. The Mountain Communities Chamber of Commerce.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Director Schoenberg has seconded the motion. Roll call of directors. Director Gibson is absent. Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 4-0, 1 absent. Motion carried. Number 10, discussion vote on proposals for the standby fee increase.
That would be Tiffany.
Oh, I was muted. I was talking to myself. Okay, so I did email like 5 companies. One I talked to on the phone, they didn't really seem interested in giving a proposal. And then this company, the only one that really responded with a proposal you have in your packet, that's the one from NBS. So I don't know how much you were able to read into it, but basically in order to raise the standby fee, we have to have that engineer's report, which assigns a value to each unimproved lot. And the votes are weighted according to the value of the lot. And then the Prop 218 process, we actually mail ballots to everybody, all the parcels in Fraser Park. And we need 51% of the people who respond to say yes in order for it to go through. It's not like the rate increase, which was the negative declaration where more than half have to say no. So this is harder to get through because it does require approval through these mailing ballots. So you'll see there's 2 parts to the proposal. The first part is for all the work on the Prop 218 process and the engineering studies and the rate studies. And then the second part is actually for public outreach. And the reason they do that is because if you just send ballots to people, they'll say no, because they don't want to be charged more money. So they recommend doing an outreach, kind of explaining to people why it would need to be increased and the benefits of the increase. So that's the second optional part of the proposal.
And unfortunately, it seems like we would just be wasting our money and our time because even when it's something very important, we can't get that type of response out of people, let alone get them to vote to increase their own cost. I'm assuming this is why it hasn't been changed since it was set at $5 a lot.
Well, I have a question too.
Director Schoenberg, go ahead.
I think what would happen is when and if we consolidate with Lake of the Woods, we would have to do that all over again because we would have another group of of lots. I mean, I don't know how that even works when because they don't have an assessment fee. I don't think Lake of the Woods can answer that, but I don't know if they even have a standby fee at this point for their empty lots. So I think we may want to hold off and wait until such time we do the consolidation. And then I would recommend that we try to find funding for it so that, see if we could get some sort of grant to do that, because it's probably going to cost a good grip of money and it may not go through.
Any further discussion? Or are we going to drop that from the agenda then?
I think
Yeah.
at this point, I don't see us doing it at this point.
Can Lake of the Woods, can I just ask that question of you? Do you assess a standby fee on undeveloped lots?
We charge 50 cents per share. So each customer has shares. in the company. So it's kind of different. So vacant lots, they're usually about 50 shares. So it's $25 a year.
Ooh, more than we get.
Yeah, so it's kind of different. But yeah, once we do the annexation though, there is going to be a rate study taken care of during that annexation. They'll have to pay for one to do a blanket one that incorporates
Yeah,
your
so that-
company.
So that might be the perfect time to think about, because it's a whole separate rate study and we'd have to figure out a way to incorporate Lake of the Woods shares versus standby assessment. And so, yeah, I would say I would definitely table this until a later point when it looks like that consolidation is going to go through.
Okay. Until further notice.
Do you want an actual motion to?
Yeah, let's put a motion together.
Okay, I would move that we drop the standby fee increase investigation and subsequent increase until such time the consolidation with Lake of the Woods goes through, if it does. And at that time, we can investigate further.
I'll second that motion.
Director Nyman has seconded that motion. Roll call directors. Director Gibson, absent. Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye, 4-0, 1 absent. Thank you. Number 11, discussion vote on the district rate and fee study. Well, isn't that all rolled into one?
No, that's completely separate. That's what we did with David from RCAC.
Oh,
And
okay.
I believe we're still waiting on the booklet. They need to actually produce the rate study, the little booklet that we have, and then we go out to the mailings and the public information process. So I don't think we've received that yet, but Tiffany could speak to that.
Okay, Tiff, you got anything for us?
David Hosley emailed today asking a question. I guess they're still working on the rate study, but they had a question about active connections, which we'll have to get back to him about. It's probably a Johnny question more than me. But yeah, they're still working on it.
So I would move that we table this until we get that book. Well, that we ask Johnny to please answer that question, and that we table this until that actual rate study. I'm calling it a booklet, whatever it is, until that rate study information is actually
Published.
Yeah, and the frustrating thing about this is
Okay, I second that. We had a motion
Wow.
on the table.
Okay, well, you can say a little nicer, please.
Yeah, now comment, Johnny.
Okay, yeah, I mean, no reason to. But anyway, I've already answered that question for David Hosley at least 10 times during this rate study. So it's going to change every month, the exact number by, as many as 8 or 9 could do to lockoffs, but I will respond to him again.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thanks, Johnny. Sorry for the
Welcome.
extra work.
So we have a motion and we have a second to table number 11. And we have a second. And I'll do a roll call of directors. Director Gibson is absent. Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye, 4-0, 1
So
absent.
Tiffany will kind of just need to track that, and when we receive that, we'll have to put it back on the agenda.
Okay. Number 12, discussion vote on the book asset detail.
So same thing. We have not been able to get together for various reasons. So I'd like to actually table this until the first regular meeting in May, which hopefully by then we'll have met, the ad hoc will have met and done a little bit of work on it.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Director Kelly, a second the motion. Roll call of directors. Director Gibson is absent. Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 4-0, 1 absent. Motion carried. Let's see what we got here. Number 13, discussion vote on Fraser Park, Lake of the Woods Consolidation Planning Project. A, discussion vote on test well property appraisals.
I'm sure Dee will have more to add to this, but Dee finally got the appraisal, the intent to appraise letter squared away to everybody's satisfaction, including our attorney and the ad hoc and everything. So I directed or asked him to have the appraisal company send out the letter.
And just for people that weren't here, for directors that weren't here, that's only for the easement. So it's just for the temporary easement appraisal. And we're holding off on the other ones until we get that settled, and because that needs to happen ASAP. Right.
Oh, and you know what?
Yeah.
And you know what else? I made a mistake. I chimed in on that, but this is the Lake of the Woods project and not the well 7 replacement. So I'm sorry. I answered for 14A and in error.
Oh.
So
Well,
so we had tabled it. Okay, go ahead, Lisa.
It's kind of a little bit the same. I mean, yes, you answered for 14A, but the only.
Yeah, but that's number C. What about number A? A is about property appraisements,
Right, but
but we're not at
Issue-
easements.
right. But we're not at that resolution either. And so the appraisal, it's a little goofy because we have to go over the property that is under 13A in order to get to the property under 14. So the appraisal, the drive-by appraisal that was already done and that we're asking for input from SAIA is actually, it covers, it kind of overlaps just slightly. It's not the actual property appraisal for the purchase of the property and for a permanent easement, but it's the appraisal for a temporary easement to be able to do well 7. However, it still runs across the same area. So it's kind of one of those weird things. So it's not completely wrong to talk about it under A a little bit, but under A, we're holding off on all the actual property appraisals for the actual permanent easements.
Purposes.
But we're also holding off on property appraisals, period,
No,
for the purchase of the properties.
that's right. What I said. Yeah. Yes, the only appraisal that's going forth right now at the moment, because it needs to happen first, is the temporary easement. And that goes across the SAIA property in order for us to, and we'll talk about that on 14, but yeah, so all the rest of them, even though we have the appraiser and we negotiated with them and everything as far as price, we're not actually sending any of those letters out until we have input on the temporary easement. Right,
Okay,
Dee?
so we're done with A. So B,
B, discussion vote on well number 8 funding.
because we're going to talk
Property
about it when we get to
acquisition.
C.
Dr. Nyman?
Well, I'm just think we need to stay in order because then we're when you get to C, you're going to talk about some easement. So
No, that's because we can't do C, so really. we
okay,
need-
so we need to go through the Lake of the Woods consolidation information first and table whatever we need to table, and then get on to 14, and then we can get into more discussion. So A, we're not doing actual appraisals for the properties at this point. That's correct, right, Dee?
That's correct. The appraisals for the property purchase are not being done at this time. They're just on hold.
Okay, so
And-
now we're on to
and
B.
Therefore, we can table B, C, D, and E and go on to F. So I move that we table B, C, D, and E until we're ready to discuss those.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Director Nyman, the second motion. Roll call directors. Director Gibson is absent. Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 4-0-1 absent, motion carried.
Good night, Deborah. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, 13F, discussion vote on claims and payouts.
That's Carlos.
That's Keith.
No claim right now.
Beautiful.
Claim will be submitted, or draft claim will be submitted at next week's meeting. I just got the information from Tiffany. However, there was new forms that the state sent out, so this next claim will be done on the new forms.
Okay. Any
I
further
have a-
discussion?
Yeah, I have an update and then a question for D.
Okay,
So I just want to inform you, so we've submitted 12, 13, 14, Carlos submitted 15, and we haven't received payment. And I'm gonna go out of order, forgive me, and also on the meter claims. So I was gonna ask D, I had some conversations with Gail this week. I'm working with her on invoicing and stuff. D, we are really behind, and I know, because we're waiting for payment on this from the state. And I was talking to Gail about it, and I told her I would ask you, are you still okay? Because these invoices are going pretty old. Let us know if there's anything we need to take care of, or if you'd like us to do something. I just wanted to open that conversation.
Well, thanks, Tiffany. There's a fair amount out there. I can review that with Gail, kind of to see if there is something that that we'd prefer maybe it would be brought forward. I know that the state has not been remitting or sending the money, and that's, some of these are quite old and more than 90 days. Quite old. I think some are maybe even older than that. So I'm not prepared to recommend anything tonight about that, but Gail did bring it to my attention, and we'll get together in the next couple days and kind of review it, and then I'll come up with something, Tiffany, if we do need it.
Okay.
And
Thank
I
you.
do know that at the last meeting, Lawrence stated that they had just approved claims 12, 13, and 14. So hopefully they'll be sending the funding soon.
That'd be good, Carlos. That'd be good news.
okay. 14. Discussion vote update on FPPUD meter replacement project and emergency well supply project. A, discussion vote update on drilling well number 7. Did you want to recap that, Johnny?
I don't have an update on that. Could you maybe field that one?
Yeah, I sent to Jesse, of course, you guys were copied on this too, the bid summary and our bid recommendation letter on the 17th. I was just looking at the record. Time is going by fast, and I haven't received any notice, and I checked with Curtis to see if Jesse or Lawrence had responded, and Curtis has not received anything. I have not received anything. I'm assuming the district has not. So I've got a note to myself to actually call Lawrence or send him an email tomorrow and ask him and Jesse,
What's up?
we've got a low bidder, we've got a recommendation. Is that going to be, your recommendation as well, state? Yeah, I would think they would. Those were good bids and they're
So
really.
we got bids back and we're waiting on the state to tell us it's okay.
Yes, we got good number of bids back and they were very tight. And the low bidder was one that had worked with us before and we recommended.
And who was that, D?
Unified Field Service.
Field? Okay.
And they did Wolf Tank.
I've been out of the loop for a month, so
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's anyway, Unified, and they were really, really tight, these bids. So there shouldn't be any question about it. I'll double check on that because we need to get that awarded.
Yeah, Director Nyman, I don't really see why they wouldn't move forward. And I think Lawrence, we discussed all this with him at the last state update meeting. And all of them were proposing to use the exact same driller. So it wasn't like, there was some issue with the drillers or anything like that. They all had the same driller as the subcontractor. So I think it just I think they just maybe missed the fact that they need to send an actual approval to us.
yeah, if you could send them an email tomorrow, because we need to get that done as soon as possible.
I'll do that.
Thank
D,
you,
could
D.
you forward me that email as well? I don't think I was included in that. If you could, please.
Yes, I'll do that, Oscar.
Okay, B, discussion vote on site access to Estella property.
That's what we had covered in
Oh, that was 13A?
in 13. Yeah.
Okay.
So what are we doing? We're waiting on,
So
Oh.
basically, the letter finally went out. The letter went to the project committee. We were given approval to look it over in between meetings and given approval on it. It went out to the attorney. The attorney was okay with it. And so it has now been, I believe, sent to 5 Valbridge to Saya. So that just happened not very long ago. So I think we're just gonna wait. We need to wait for a response.
On those letters, did we ever find out why the names were all?
There, we haven't even looked at the other letters yet. We just addressed the one with the correct property number and correct wording in order to go for the.
Correct APN and
Yeah. And those were just mistakes. And I went down in D. We called up the county GIS map and we clarified exactly the APNs and stuff. So before the next ones get sent out, they'll definitely have all the correct information on them.
Okay.
Good, thank you. C, discussion vote on the plans and specs for the meter replacement. What we
I just had a meeting. Well, I had a meeting with Dee and Curtis yesterday, and I was talking to them, and unfortunately, it's still going to be probably a couple weeks to get those back. They are mostly done. I made a couple of changes, which is going to make it, it's more work for him. But I've had to use Curtis a lot on the generator project, which I'll give you an update when we get to there. So he's working on them, and I would expect him definitely in the next couple of weeks.
That's correct, Johnny. He's working on those, and I think we have Matt also working on those and trying to wrap those up. There's a great deal of detail, and the reason that we're including the detail is to control the costs.
And D will also be contingent upon those plans and specs being received. So D is really a moot point at this time.
Correct.
Discussion vote update on budget adjustment.
The budget adjustment went out. I know Tiffany sent that out to Lawrence. We haven't heard anything back as to being approved or if we need to provide any additional information.
I thought I saw an email that said he approved it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That was for the $7,000 for the
Oh.
planning project.
But there was the second, there were two
They,
emails.
they, they both had to do with the planning project, if I'm not
Oh.
mistaken.
I
Yeah,
think an
'cause
email
one,
came through, I want to say yesterday. Did you get the email that came yesterday, Oscar? Or today? It was a very recent one.
no, I don't think I got that one. The last one was, I think Lawrence got confused and was sending me something about the planning project. But I haven't seen anything about the well and meters.
Okay, yeah, there was an answer from Lawrence's higher up. So,
Yeah, I do believe Oscar is correct that it was for planning projects. So that
Okay.
last email dealt with those new forms for the claim, and basically they're saying that I can update all the budgets there because in all the old claims you can't, the claim, the form 260 is protected, so you can't change anything. So some of the figures are different than what the actual figures are. So I think that was what that was referring to.
Okay. F, discussion vote on claims and payouts.
In regards to claims, I know claim 1 and 2 have been sent to the state. Back on kind of what Tiffany said about there's invoices out there that are, you know, kind of falling behind. I do have some information in regards to that. I know Dee said he didn't have it, but I did. I wrote it down. So for the month of December, there's 2 invoices. One is invoice 21-X1218, and that's for the amount of $457, and that's owed to D. The second invoice is 21-X1253, and that's in the amount of $364.50. Those are for December of 2021. And then there's 2 invoices for January. Invoice number 22-01015, and that's in the amount of $8,655.47, and that's also D. And then there's invoice number 22-01016, and that's in the amount of $1,250. And that's all to D. And that's just in December and January. And I know Tiffany sent me out a couple more invoices for the work that was done in February, and I haven't calculated those yet.
So that, are you saying that those were funded or paid or?
No.
No, we're
I'm
waiting
saying
for this.
They're
Waiting for it.
outstanding.
Okay.
They're outstanding. They haven't, those 4 invoices that I just mentioned, they have not been included in the claim because we were out of money for we needed to submit a budget adjustment prior to being able to send out those claims, because they would have been kicked back.
Okay, understood.
So yes, back to the question that Dee said he would get back to the district in regards if he needs any of that paid. Because the other invoices have already been included in claims 1 and 2. It's just these 4 invoices have not been included in any claim yet.
Well, where do we stand on the budget adjustment?
That's the thing. We haven't heard back anything from Lawrence yet.
Okay,
So we
so
just, Director Garcia and I just need to make sure we bring that up at the state update meeting. And we should,
and that's what, next week?
yes,
Next
next Thursday.
Thursday.
Okay.
Wednesday or Thursday?
It's Thursday.
Okay.
10 a.m.
Okay,
Or somebody can send an email and like Oscar, you could send an email to Lawrence if we've already submitted the budget agreement, you know.
I can do that as well. I can send him an email out tomorrow on just checking on the status of the budget adjustment.
Because if he approves it, we want to make sure that we get it in claim 3, which we would do cut this second meeting coming up this month.
Right,
Correct?
and
That's correct.
we talked about it and he gave us a basic approval, but he wanted a spreadsheet, which we then sent to him. So, I mean, it's just sort of, I mean, he basically approved it, but we need something in writing.
Yeah, we need something in writing because otherwise, it would just get kicked back if there wasn't anything official.
right. Okay, well, we'll have to bring that up next week and get an answer on it.
Right, and my understanding from what he said is that there's money there already and that we didn't necessarily need to actually move money. We could just put in the claim, but I mean, I think we need that written down because that's kind of what he was saying. He was saying that the money exists and there's lines to charge things to, and that we don't necessarily need to move from contingency into other areas until later on in the project, but there isn't something that specifically says that in writing other than what he said on the minutes, which the minutes.
Verbal, yeah.
Yeah, I think he needs to write that up.
Okay, let's move on to 15, discussion vote on pipeline replacement project. A, discussion vote on the technical assistance work plan.
I believe we're just waiting still, right?
Yeah, we're still
That's all
waiting.
felt, right?
We had a meeting. I had a meeting with them on Tuesday, and the work plan is still with the higher ups waiting approval.
I thought they were going to approve it in February.
That was the plan.
That was last month.
Well, I should check out for another month.
It's been approved. It just hasn't been executed, basically. So we need there's a batch of work plans that went in with that, and I think they're just waiting for the execution of the contract,
So
if
I'd
I'm not
like,
mistaken.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Director Schoenberg.
I'd like to move that we table B, C, D, and E because none of that can move forward until we have the TA money.
Work plan.
I'll second that.
Okay. Director Nyman has seconded the motion. Roll call, directors. Director Gibson is absent. Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 4-0-1 absent. Motion carried. Let's skip over to 16. Discussion vote update on Cal OES Community Power Resiliency allocation to special districts grant. A,
And I think this is
discussion
where
vote update
where we
on
say goodnight.
purchasing of the
Uh,
generators.
Good night, Carlos. Good night, Oscar. Thank you.
Good night,
Thank
guys.
you.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank
Have a good
you.
night.
Good
Okay,
day.
have a
Good
good
night.
one. Bye.
Okay,
Okay, so
pardon me?
would you like me to start with A?
What, is that Johnny?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay, so this has been an adventure. So, obviously these were supposed to be ordered last month. Curtis has been pushing, trying to get the information that we need to make sure that we're not going to have problems with wet stacking, and that these generators are actually spec'd out correctly. So ended up going to Joe Provender, the electrical engineer, and sending information. And Joe kept on kicking back to PTS Rentals and through him to the factory for the generators saying, look, I need these specs, I need this, I need these calculations. And for about a month period, PTS Rentals had dropped the ball. Nothing moved forward, even though Curtis made several phone calls and everything. So, and I've been down there a couple of times. So finally I went down again, and tried to talk to Greg and I talked to his assistant. At the end of the day before yesterday at 5 o'clock, Greg called me up and was trying to explain, what was holding the project up. So I set up an impromptu meeting real quick for the next morning between Dee, Curtis, Greg, and his assistant to talk about this. What it boiled down to is Tier 4 compliant generators are new enough to where they don't want to give a letter stating that we won't have wet stacking issues with the generators. So what I recommended, and what I believe I just received 5 minutes ago on my email, which we have to go through, Dee and Curtis has to go through it, was a couple of things. One, that they're going to write a letter for each generator stating that we know that the load should be between 30% and 50% of the capacity for the generator to help prevent wet stacking. So what I suggested was, and Dee clarified it with each individual generator, is they're going to send a letter stating that the generators that they're speccing out will meet that criteria, where it will fall within those parameters, but they won't specifically say you won't have a problem with wet stacking. The other letter that Dee is making them give us is stating that the generator will run the boosters and the well pumps. So he just sent that. And another thing that Dee pushed for was that if we have any type of issues within the 2-year warranty, Dee tried to get 5, but the 2-year warranty period on the generators, if one goes down to maintenance, PTS Rentals is going to provide a free generator and send it up here so we're not without power at a critical well site. I got a text that said, PTS Rentals will also provide a rental generator in the event of an emergency if the Tier 4 fails due to the emission system warranty period as requested by the Jaspar. So he's supposed to confirm that in a letter, and he's going to have to put it in there at no charge. But since I just got them 5 minutes ago, and Dee has not even received them yet, we got to go over those letters and make sure that they state what they do. If they do, and you guys give your blessing, that we feel comfortable, because basically we just want them to spec out or write down that if it's within specs that they're going to be as maintenance free as possible. Then we could get the order in, and Greg is claiming that we could have the generators delivered by September. So I'm guessing maybe October. But anyway, if somebody would like to see those letters when I send them out to Dee and Curtis, I think they probably got them in a separate email, but I'll re-forward them. Then just let me know, and I'll send them to you individually as well.
That should actually be going to the project ad hoc, I believe.
Yeah, and currently that's Lisa and
Garcia.
And who?
Garcia.
Okay, good. That's what I thought, but I didn't want to send them to the whole board and then create a serial meeting.
Sure.
So I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll send them out to everybody here shortly.
Okay.
And that's my update on the generators.
So that actually covered the engineering design with your meeting, which is B.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Gotcha.
Johnny, when did we have to have this done?
February.
By the end of March, and then they extended it to what?
Tiffany, you want to chime in? I want to say, was it November?
Oh, right now, it's extended through the rest of the year, so December 31st, 2022.
Oh,
Cool.
awesome.
So we're still not critical, but that was one of the things that Dee and Curtis pointed out to.
Well, I still think
PTS Rentals.
I still think we're critical, because I think we need to get them ordered so that we can meet the deadline, so that we don't end up having a problem. So,
Well, of course.
I don't want us to spin wheels
Okay,
for another
order.
month.
One at a time. Number 17, discussion vote on well number 5, blending station and installing the nitrate analyzer.
Okay. Yeah. We could actually change that line item to take out the blending station currently, but anyway, on the nitrate analyzer, I just checked at the end of last week with Peter from P&J Electric. He still has not received the nitrate analyzer, much to Jesse Dollywall's unhappiness, but once they receive it, because he has no idea when it's actually going to be here, it was supposed to be here already, then it'll be another 2 weeks after that.
Okay.
Sitting on the boat.
Yep.
Johnny, did you get that email that Jesse sent out yesterday?
About revising the cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, to be honest with you, that frustrated me because he has me spending a huge amount of my time on this stuff.
Yeah.
When I have plenty of other things to do, and it seems kind of ridiculous to be worrying about a little bit of wording on there. I mean, I'm getting my nitrate notices out each month has been almost impossible. We've managed to do it, but it's been, labeling letters and stamping them on the weekend to get them out by the end of the month because Jesse wants so many things changed on the nitrate notice alone, let alone the cap. So I think I'm just going to go into the cap and just try to cut and paste from the nitrate notice that he makes me do for the what we're going to do to correct the action, and then just plug that into the cap that we have. If I can't do that or that's not sufficient with him, then I'll cry for your help.
Yeah, that sounds good. It's a little frustrating for sure that, we're doing everything we can. We're doing everything that's physically possible. And we're getting these letters from Jesse. So yeah, we may have to have a telephone call with him, Johnny, if once you do the revision and throw it back in his court, maybe we can have a telephone call with him and conference call with he and Ryan. And
yeah, I agree, and I wouldn't even mind going down and to his office and talking to him face to face. Maybe that would help too.
I think it would. Those kind of meetings always help.
Yeah,
it's a hassle, but at least they seem to resolve things better than even the telephone calls. So yeah, you let me know if you want me to wait in on that.
Absolutely, I will. Thanks.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Dean. 18, discussion, review, vote on the employee handbook.
Are we going to review it, or because Becky's not here, put it off again?
Yeah, I think that's prudent. We did that for Brahma when he wasn't here.
Yeah, and that's good, but I want to stress the fact that after this time, we really need to plow through this because that's how I'm enforcing all these rules. And when we have another employee come back to work, hopefully that's going to happen before too long. I really would like to have a revised handbook that we could refer to for, any given situation. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Be free recess. Does the board like to take a recess, 10 minutes? Bathroom or plow through this thing? Okay, I hear anything. We'll go on to 19. Discussion vote on the lead operator wage and incentive. You have something on that, Johnny?
I do. I've rescinded any lead operator stuff in the past because, to be honest, the lead man starts off with like gangbusters and then, kind of drops off. So I came up with this idea. For one thing, we got to give an incentive for a wage increase, whether it's $2 or $3 an hour more for the lead operator that's got all the responsibility. But I wasn't prepared to do that until I came up with the idea, and I checked with PASS, with our HR, if it's allowed, where you guys set the amount per hour, and it's given to somebody, more or less on a trial basis, but it's given to them. And then if somebody starts slacking and not doing what I want them to do, I could take that money back and assign it to somebody else or not give it to anybody and go back to me doing all of that. And then that way it will be an incentive. Yeah, I'm going to try hard. And if I don't, I'm going to lose this extra money. And if I do,
One
I get to
question
keep
to
it.
you.
So,
I have one question
Sure.
for you. Do you have someone that you think is in that capacity or could be in that capacity now?
I do. Corey has been stepping up hugely over the last, especially the last few months. And it's been kind of a natural transition with our other employee to accept guidance and direction from him. And we've accomplished a lot of stuff that wasn't getting done. It was getting put back, and I wasn't aware of it. Things like leaky curb stops, meters that aren't working, things of that nature that I don't necessarily find out about. And
Right.
he's been pushing to get all this stuff changed out and done because he sees it on the meter read. So I think he is a good candidate, but I also
Okay.
think that I like the idea of being able to take the money back if somebody doesn't do well.
Mhm. No, I'm not against it. I think it should be an open discussion for the whole board and what we all think about it. Because there's a time and place where you have to quit being the be all do all for the company.
Exactly, yeah.
Otherwise, we're not going to create a base that can support taking on a larger capacity, such as Lake of the Woods. You know, we've
Yep.
got to be building bigger and you, by running my own business, no, I can't be all and do all. You have to have people that you can count on that are responsible. And thing is that's one of the tried and true incentives, the almighty dollar, especially the way things are going now. So,
Well, there's something legal we have to put in place to say that if we like, okay, we're giving a $2 an hour for the lead man as an incentive, that if he doesn't, how is that?
on a
Like,
trial
how is
basis,
it
that's all you have to
determined
say.
to take that back? I mean, is
Well,
that?
well, according to PASS, we don't need it. But what I will do is I will revise a job description that will be signed, and I will pass that to Jerry Pearson, our attorney, just to make sure that it meets the legalities of it. But PASS was very emphatic that it was not an issue, that it could be done easily, that it's not an issue.
Yeah, I'm happy to run it by Jerry Pearson as well, because it says right in passes. I mean, they're helpful, but it also says that they're not responsible for mistakes they make, and everything needs to be run by our attorney. So, so I would double check.
Well, yeah, I will double check in this situation, but I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm thinking that maybe we need to just cut off PASS, because the only thing that we really rely on from them is an updated application every year and forms and help with maybe a little write-up maybe. The rest of it, we have to run through Jerry because we don't know for sure that they're okay. I mean, I trust their advice in this situation. It wasn't like, well, let me check on it. It was pretty cut and dried that you could do it. But I do like to run things by Jerry because he's an attorney, but we might consider not doing PASS anymore as well. But that's another agenda item.
Yeah, I think we can take
another
that
time.
at a later date. It's cheap insurance for
Yeah.
now, that we do have an
Yeah.
HR capacity within the company. So,
Yep.
any other discussion from the board?
I would like to throw one more thing when you decide on the dollar amount. I know that this is an unpopular opinion with a lot of people, but in the very near future, we're going to have to address our wage table again. I've been talking to other water companies. I've been talking to other businesses. I've been looking at want ads. And I also know that we've run multiple ads to try to hire people. And Pine Mountain Club has run it for several months and had 0 applicants and finally got 1 applicant. And they pay more than us. So in this environment, the way pay is and the lack of anybody being willing to work, we need to keep that in mind for how much we give the lead person, as well as we need to set a time when you guys want to revisit the wage table and what kind of information you want before we address that issue, like comparisons or whatever.
Okay, so first step is we're gonna run the idea by the lawyer as far as the incentive pay. And
Well, actually, I
once
was hoping you guys would, since I know that I believe HR is correct, I would like you guys to approve the increase now. So then when I just verify that it's okay, then I can implement what I need to implement. I have two guys that have been working nonstop every weekend for 8 months now. So I need to do something to get the lead person feeling happy.
Okay. What does the board want to discuss that? Is anybody in favor of it?
I'm in favor of it. And I want to know what Johnny's thinking about for the lead operator wage.
I honestly think that what they're making now, I think that it should be $3. And then if we have to revise the wage table to try to get somebody, then we'll have to address that issue later on. But $3 is enough to where it's going to make people really, I hate to put it like this, but it's gonna hurt to lose that money if once you've been making it for a few months. It's going to matter to them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's
that's my thought on it.
$30 a day gross, so can add up.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I'll entertain a motion.
The only issue that I have is that we're always doing a lot of overtime, and I'm not against the $3. I'm just saying the only issue I have is with only 2 employees in the field right now besides yourself, Johnny. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That there's a fair amount of overtime still happening, and I'm only concerned about we have a lot of our money is I don't know, we're going to be paying much higher gas prices, everything's gone up. So I just want to make sure that we're not in trouble with, we haven't even done a rate increase yet. That has yet to go out. So I just want to make sure that we're, keeping everything in balance, knowing that everything's going to go up a good chunk in the next 6 months, say.
Well, to answer that directly, I can't give an assurance of that. Although I can say that when we had the last budgets, we figured in 4 employees, and then we went down to 3 employees because of almost a 1.5 year issue, which now has been resolved. So then, we've been saving that money for a 1.5 years. And then we've had another person out for 8 months, probably at least another couple months out. And even when I had 3, there was still a lot of overtime, and the overtime was comparable to what it would be now with the 2. I mean, we may be a little bit higher, but when I had 3 guys, one person was making close to the same wage the new one would be making.
Yeah.
For overtime, but then it would be rotating. If I get 3 people, then there's not as much overtime for each person because you're off every 3rd week from being on call or backup.
So
and now, since we've only had 2 for so long, we've been saving money in that regard.
So without overtime, we're looking at $480 a month more for that and for the lead operator.
Yeah, gross. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and as another thing to consider, real quick, there's one of the 2 is about ready to have a baby any day. So the other person's going to be left holding the lion's share of stuff for, however long the family leave stuff is for the new baby.
Yeah. Well, I'm okay with the $3 for the lead operator. So
Would you
I
care to put
wouldn't,
that in the motion?
I would make a motion
you.
that we authorize Johnny to give the lead operator a $3 raise that's able to be rescinded if the person does not live up to expectations, contingent upon the approval from the attorney.
Absolutely.
I do think that if, before I second that, I do think that we need to be very careful, Johnny, in writing up anything that would support you removing that amount. So you need to be really good with write-ups.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's why I'm pushing for the employee handbook to be done as quickly as possible, because I've been very good at that stuff since I wasn't, and so it's been going good. So I will totally be doing it. As another real quick side note, I've been trying to do what we talked to with Alan about the family leave, the FMLA and all that stuff. And I've been pushing and for the last 2 weeks. I haven't even heard from Jerry Pearson. So, I'm staying on top of everything I'm supposed to, and I will continue even more so, because I need a good, reliable lead person. That's why I came up with my idea to have an enticement.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Director Schoenberg has seconded that motion. Roll call of the directors. Director Gibson is absent. Director Kelling.
Aye.
Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 4-0, 1 absent. Motion carried.
And I really think that I agree with Johnny that we need to, at some point in the next couple months, we should review our wage tables, and especially, on getting new workers, on what we pay them initially to come in to work.
Absolutely.
Because I agree that when you can go to, even though you don't get full benefits like we give, you can go to McDonald's for $15 an hour. It's hard to get people to come in, because it's hard work, what we do,
And that just went up to $16.25 for McDonald's.
Aye.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
and at the same time I have you review that, I'm gonna have all the job descriptions revised, because they're sorely lacking. So I'll put them all on the agenda at the same time.
Okay, thank you, Johnny.
Okay. Thank you.
Number 20,
Thank you.
discussion vote on the federal LEWAP program.
LEWAP.
How you like that?
Okay, so I have information on this. I attended a webinar where the California Community Service District gave information on this program. They call it the LIWAP program.
Okay, all
And
right.
it stands for Low Income Household Water Assistance Program. And what this program is a customer who becomes past due on their water bill or owes a lot, backwater, even if they're in a payment plan that's backwater, can apply to the LIWAP program. And they're not applying with us, they're applying with the designated agency that the CSD designates. So you apply with them, and then they review the application, they review income and any other qualifications, and they issue the decision whether or not they can help. You get only this is a one-time assistance program, so it's not multiple. You get one chance. And what happens is, if you saw that agreement that had Horn on the front, so an agency who's interested, a water agency who's interested in offering this to their customers, actually has to apply and be accepted into the program. So if us as a water agency isn't an authorized agency, we don't enter into an agreement, then none of our customers could get help under this program. And so we get qualified as an agency. We fill out, there's a larger application that I don't have, but I gave you the first part of it, which was the horn. And they're the ones who would be paying us directly the back water charges. I apologize if I'm being a little jumbled. I hope I'm clear. So the person applies to the state says, here's your back money, and then they give it to Horn, and then Horn sends us a check, which could take 4 to 6 weeks to get to us. But it's a good program. It's only gonna run through August of 23, so it's limited funding. And it won't be forever, but at least it'll help people who, are paying pretty large payment plans. They'd be able to apply and possibly get assistance if they're income qualified. So there's not anything to approve yet. I filled out an information as an interested agency, and all that does is the state looks at us and sees if we're a public utility and if we're qualified under their program guidelines. If they are, they'll send us a larger application packet, which will include the one that you have in your board packet, but they haven't reached back out to us yet. So there's not anything to do yet until they do that, but I wanted to make sure that you're aware of it and see if you're interested in moving forward on this program.
And we don't know what the income requirements are for this.
It is 60% of the state median MHI, the median household income.
Which we certainly meet that, being a severely disadvantaged community.
No, but I mean for the individual itself,
Yeah, it's 60% of the state MHI.
which is what the MHI is around 32,000 or something.
I'm not sure. No, that's the MHI of Fraser Park is 32,000. The state is a lot higher. And your income could only be 60% of that. And then it also depends on household size but I don't have the specific income requirements yet.
Okay. And so how that would operate is like if someone's way behind on their, they would send in to qualify for this.
Yeah, they'd contact the state. They wouldn't apply with us. They'd contact the state agency, whoever CSD designates. They'd apply, fill out their application with them first. And if we do our part, fill out the application and become an approved agency, then the state would basically send a check through Horn, this application, and they'd pay us directly for the person's water bill. When they did the webinar, it was still draft program guidelines. So they were still working out a couple of the kinks. For example, if it takes 4 to 6 weeks to get a payment to us, we've already locked somebody off. Usually, they have to be behind and then they have to apply, and then it's an additional 4 to 6 weeks. So they're working on program kinks like that, because they'd actually have to notify us that somebody applied, so we know to hold off on lockoffs.
How would the residents even find out about this program?
Right, how would we notify them?
Well, once we're, probably through us and our website, and once we're approved as an actual participating agency, we could send letters. I would probably.
Or have the paper.
Enterprise, and then maybe the I'm having
social media.
No, I was gonna say I'm having the help agency in town, and I'm having a brain.
Oh yeah, the community resource center.
Yes, the resource center could probably turn people onto this program as well.
I'd like to move that we allow Tiffany to go forward and submit, once they have it available, what she needs to submit for us to get the ball rolling on this program.
I second that motion.
Director Nyman has seconded the motion. Roll call directors. Director Gibson is absent. Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 4-0, 1 absent, motion carried. Thank you. 21 was already dealt with.
Oh, D, you can go home if you like.
He's asleep. Don't wake him.
Now you tell me. Now you tell-
Thank you, D.
No,
I
I'm just,
appreciate it.
I'm just
Thank you, Dee.
listening in, so.
Take the rest of the night off, will you?
Okay.
Yeah, you can take the rest of the night off with pay, D.
All right, hey, all right, good, sounds good. I'll log another minute and then I'll be gone.
All right, good to see you.
All right, good to
Thank
see you
you.
back. Ken. Good night.
Number 22, review and approve meeting minutes for February 10th, 2022, regular meeting.
So I was errant on getting my my changes to Tiffany on this. I have just 2 things. But I will go ahead. I'm trying to find the lovely wording.
On the very back page of the last meeting, it's there.
Okay, so here, let's do this. I like to move that we approve the regular meeting minutes for Thursday, February 10th, 2022. With any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to this meeting, and anything I or another director can enter after the meeting, as well as any additional amendments for other errors that we may not.
Okay, somebody needs to mute themselves. I'm hearing all sorts of noises.
Somebody's shaving.
And I just need help.
don't
I need a second, but I just need
I don't
help
even hear it on my end.
with a
I'll second
reminder.
Okay, Director Kelly has seconded the motion. Roll call of directors. Director Gibson is absent. Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Abstain.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Garcia is going to abstain as well.
Then it won't work.
Oh, that's not going to work.
You'll have to table that one until,
You know
And
what?
the other, and the next one as well.
I'm gonna
Next.
table, I'm just forget what I said. I'm gonna
Yes.
move, we table all of the minutes until the next meeting, the planning meeting. Next planning meeting
I'll
in,
second, I'll send it. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Director Kelly has seconded that motion. Roll call of directors. Director Gibson is absent. Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
aye.
Director Schoenberg,
aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 4-0-1 absent. Motion carried. 23, discussion and vote on any future agenda items that may have been left out. I think we collect them as we go, but anybody have anything else?
I got nothing.
Okay, there's one.
I got nothing.
Okay, there's two. But you, Director Kelly.
I think we're done.
Okay, then would you do the honor of
I'll
motioning
make a motion that we adjourn.
God bless you. Quick on the pistol. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Director Kelly, second that. Motion, roll call of directors. Director Gibson is absent. Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting is adjourned.
All righty. Good night,
Director
everybody.
Garcia.
Night,